Hello and welcome to the latest episode of our podcast, Beatson Talks. This is where we chat to people who are living with cancer or have a relative or friend who's going through cancer. Pretty much everyone is touched by cancer nowadays, and we are so delighted that many people come on and share their stories from all different walks of life. But today we are joined by someone I would call Mr. Beatson himself. The wonderful Paul Sheerin. That's a fair title, isn't it?
Well, I don't want to be big-headed, but yeah.
You are Mr. Beatson. You came to it, though, you work for the Beatson now, but you came to it through having cancer yourself. So Tell me a bit about life before and then your diagnosis, Paul.
Yeah, so I all kind of started in January 2012. January 2013, sorry. Where my oldest son was just turned 1, and I knew something wasn't right. I had a lump on my testicle, and within a matter of days it had grown substantially. So I made an appointment with my GP. I went up and seen him, and he said, "You're going to get referred for an ultrasound, but it'll be a 2 or 3 weeks waiting time," which I was quite okay with, because I was getting seen. And I went into work that night, and I actually was doubled over in pain. And when I phoned my wife around about midnight to check in, she says, "I'm making an appointment first thing in the morning. This can't go on." So when I went back to the GP the next day, he says, "No, you're going straight through to Monklands. You have to go and get an ultrasound now." So I had the ultrasound done, and while I was waiting, a doctor came round and says, we're thinking it might be one of 3 things. It could be either a twist in your testicle, a sports injury, or it could be testicular cancer. A wee while had passed after that, and I got told that it was testicular cancer, and I had to get an operation the next day to get it removed.
My goodness, so within the space of a couple of days?
A couple of days, yeah. I remember it vividly. The 22nd of January 2013 was the day I actually got told. And then, as I say, the next day they get the surgery to get it removed. And
you're a dad with a baby, basically. Yep. Tell me about when they told you it was cancer. What was that moment like? Terrifying.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I hadn't lost any family to testicular cancer, but I have lost family to various other cancers. And I was petrified. And at that time, I was myself, because Louise, my wife, was at home with Corey, my son. And I just was like, how am I going to tell her? And she came in that night, and I remember just holding her, and we broke down and had a bubble. And obviously then one thing led to another.
And you go in for the operation, and that was successful, I take it?
Everything. Yeah, I remember waking up after surgery thinking, when are you going to start? Because it felt as if I was out for so long. Uh-huh. So after that, I get referred to the Beatson just as a follow-up. Had a regular few catch-ups with, obviously, the clinical nurse specialist, Nicola, and Ashita at the Beatson. And I got told, obviously, things were positive, we were in a good place. And it was a regular CT scan that they noticed that my blood markers had risen quite substantially. And they done a further CT scan and found that the cancer had spread to my stomach. And
another massive blow.
Yeah, absolutely. I was told after that then that I would have to attend the Beatson for 9 weeks of chemotherapy. It was weird how it worked, because it was over 3 days. So the first week I was in the hospital for 3 days. The second week and third week I was in as an outpatient. And then that followed suit for the rest of the duration. But it was a horrific time. Mm-hmm. I didn't mind losing my hair. I was going to maybe look like my dad, because my dad's bald, which I ended up did looking like him. But it was just horrific. At the Beatson, I was kind of put in the same kind of ward as 2 others that were going through the exact same treatment as myself, similar age, 32.
And you're so young.
Yeah, that's it. I'd actually just turned 33 just as my treatment was about to start. And I get put in the ward with 2 other guys, same age as myself. And I always remember one guy was a week ahead of us, and when he was in week 2, he was ill. And I was like, that's going to be me next week. But it wasn't. I was absolutely fine the following week. But it was week 5 that I was actually at home. And I can talk about it just now. I remember waking up and just sitting at the top of my stairs thinking, this is my time. So,
God, Paul, jeez.
I can talk about it and then I'm getting emotional.
Well, no wonder though. I mean, you're feeling horrendous. What got you through those times?
Corey, my oldest, and funnily enough, before my treatment was about to, well, actually the day I went for my CT scan, my wife read a sign saying, if you think you're pregnant, please let us know. And for some reason she thought, I need to do a test when I go home.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when we found out she was actually pregnant with our second.
Was it a boy or a girl?
It was a boy. Max came along in December of the year I had my treatment. And to our surprise, only about 6 months later, we found out Louise was pregnant again. And it was another boy, Jack. He was born in January 2015. So 3 boys, all kind of pre-teens now. Well, we've got one teenager and the other 2 are pre-teens, so our hands full.
Keeping you on your toes.
Absolutely.
You go through the treatment, and it is obviously awful, and you come out the other side. What was the kind of diagnosis then? What happened?
I think just obviously, I mean, the Beatson were absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
Again, like you hear a lot of people praising the Wellbeing Centre, 100%. I mean, I remember Nicky Donnelly, the charge nurse, coming around and saying, "Go to the Wellbeing Centre. Mm-hmm. It's a haven." And I thought, I'm a guy. I don't need to go up there and get my feet done.
Now you're loving it.
Exactly. But the team up there were absolutely amazing. I was actually known as Friends of the Beatson then, because it was before obviously Beatson Cancer Charity. And I just fell in love with the place. They couldn't get rid of me. I was up every morning with my paper, my coffee and my biscuit, and it was brilliant.
Yeah.
And then obviously I would get my chemotherapy through the night. So I was in the hospital the whole day, so I could go up and spend a bit of time up there. And
you go through the weeks of chemotherapy. Were you then given the all clear?
Yep. So not long after, in the July when my treatment had actually stopped, I think it was around about the August time, I got told that was it, pretty much all clear. A 4 centimetre tumour was down to next to nothing, but I was still to attend the Beatson yearly. At that time it was 6 monthly. It's now yearly because they're still keeping an eye on me.
Yeah. You're back there for those appointments, but you're back there every day and at every event. How did you get so involved? Well, it's your job now, but how did that come about?
So it was in 2017. I'd actually, so when I became well enough, I decided to volunteer with the charity at the big black tie dinners. Because I was working full time, that was the only thing I could really dedicate my time to.
You picked the fancy ones?
Yes. Waiting and dining, no, not really. And I remember obviously chatting away to the volunteer manager at the time, and I said, look, I would do anything to get a job in here. And I remember applying for jobs that I knew I wasn't qualified for, absolutely. And I thought, right, I need to get in there. And in October, it was around about September of 2017, the volunteer manager at the time had phoned me in and says, they'll come in for a wee appointment, we'll have a wee chat about your volunteering. And she actually gave me a bit of paper and says, that's a job offer, if you want it. And she said, and I was ready to just say yes there and then, but then obviously I've got a family to support. I was like, I need to look at the salary here, you know what I mean, like every job. And it was a big sacrifice to make. So I remember going and saying to Heather, the volunteer manager at the time, I'm going home to talk to Louise about this because it's a big decision. And we went home and she said, you've got to do it. You've got to grab it. And it's easily the best job in the world. Absolutely is. So
tell me about your role in the Beatson.
So I'm the volunteer coordinator for the Beatson Cancer Charity. And between myself and Marlon, the volunteer manager now, we look after all our wonderful volunteers, our tea trolley volunteers, our garden volunteers, cafe, the Wellbeing Centre volunteers, the ones out doing the bucket collections, every single person. And it's like a big, happy family.
How many volunteers are there roughly?
Including corporate supporters, and now we've got about 700 volunteers.
My goodness,
what? Yep. 4 volunteers, we've probably got about 400.
Wow.
Yeah, absolutely. But there is we do get corporate support where they maybe dip in maybe once or twice a year.
Yeah.
But we have to count them because they're given their time.
Yeah. And they are the people that make it tick. I was there at my appointment yesterday and, you know, the cafe's filled with cheery volunteers. And it's just those people that's a wee bit of normality when you just see people kind of going about their work. But just that simple smile or that wee hello or good morning can mean so much, can't it? Absolutely.
I mean, without knowing an exact statistic, I'd say about 80% of our volunteers have been touched by cancer, whether themselves directly or a family member. And that's why they give their time. And it's an absolutely amazing place to be. Yeah. It really is. Despite being a cancer hospital, it's a very upbeat place.
Yeah, it really is. For someone who's been through it, I guess some people would think, I don't want to go anywhere near the place again. I've done my time and that's it. For you going back in and working there, what has that experience meant to you?
Everything. I love it. I mean, honestly, Laura, I've never woke up in the morning going, oh, I need to go into work. Mm. I've never had that working with the Beatson. Fair enough in old jobs, which I won't name. Fair enough in old jobs. I've been very lucky. I've always worked since I left school, but I've never been in a better place.
Yeah. Have there been some stories that have stuck with you? There must be.
Absolutely. Like you see all walks of life coming in the Beatson, from older people to younger people, even children. Where my office is in the hospital.
Oh, we can see your cheery face looking
That's
out.
It. I know. And if you don't see my cheery face, it's on a pop-up somewhere in the hospital. It's just, you get to know people, you get to know their families, and it becomes like, it's very personal. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And helping people, just give them that wee bit of friendship, wee bit of support can help. I want to get this in. Obviously, I look after the befriending service for the charity, and that was one good thing that came out of COVID. Mm. Everything at the hospital stopped. All the appointments, you weren't allowed to bring anybody in with you. You weren't even allowed to bring somebody had to come in with your clean clothes to take away your dirty clothes and things. And we thought of a telephone service, and since then it's just went from strength to strength. Mm-hmm. And it's just offering that bit of friendship and talking through it.
Is that just people can give you their details and someone will phone them and just be there for them?
So it's a volunteer-led service. Yeah. It's done over the phone, and it's basically just, as I say, nothing medical. Mm-hmm. We're not medical professionals, and that's always stipulated at the start, that it's just there as an extra arm. A lot of people can't talk to family about cancer, so having somebody out with their family can help.
I remember that, being able to speak to someone at a centre, a Wellbeing Centre, and it did feel completely different to chatting to my family, because often you don't want to burden them with or scare them with how you're truly feeling. Yep. So if you can let that out to someone.
Absolutely. I always go back to my own story. Like, Louise was petrified. Yeah. I was petrified, and we didn't want to talk to each other about that kind of thing. So if we had something like that at the Beatson at the time, I would have took it, and Louise would have took it as a kind of bit of support.
What does Louise think of your love for the Beatson?
Yep, she's on board. The whole family's actually on board, because obviously I've done a lot of fundraising for the charity since I became well enough. My first thing was a pathetic attempt at Movember. I remember it vividly. It was a horrible ginger moustache. And then I've just, every year I've just tried to kind of do a bit of fundraising. The lead up to turning 40, I've done a fundraiser every month. Mm-hmm. I've done kilt walks, space nights, that sort of thing. And only just on Sunday there, I've done my annual footgolf event for the Beatson. But today I've raised £160,000.
Which is just unbelievable. Yeah. Thank you very much for that, first of all. But also, what has that meant to you to be able to give back?
It's something I always wanted to do. But I made a promise to myself that I would love to go back to volunteer. If the opportunity came up to get a job, I would love to take the job there. But I also wanted to give back to the charity, because I know keeping the Wellbeing Centre open, for instance, costs money. Mm-hmm. And I know that relies on fundraising. So my wee bit of fundraising, if I can keep that open for a bit longer for somebody to use, then I'm happy with that.
And your volunteers that work there, what's it like for you when they come and share stories of, I guess, because there'll be emotional moments for them throughout, as I say, they look so cheery, mm-hmm. but there are very hard moments in that hospital, as we know.
Absolutely. We're a big happy family. We really are. Our volunteers trust us, and we trust them completely. And what we do is we offer a kind of debrief, if you like, after a shift. Just because, you've just said it there, Laura, that people might have that difficult conversation with somebody mm-hmm. and find it really emotional. I've been in that position myself. I've had somebody of a similar age coming in and talking to me about having the same cancer as me, but it wasn't a good outcome. Yeah. And I remember holding it together, but when they left, I kind of broke down a bit. Yeah. So because we're all human. We are all human.
We are lucky on this podcast. We know so much about what the Beatson does and the Wellbeing Centre and things like that. Can you give people who maybe don't know a rough overview of the work that the Wellbeing Centre does? And I guess, again, if you've never been to the Beatson, you maybe don't know, but there's volunteers come around with the tea and biscuits. That's by far my favourite.
I was going to say that's one of your favourites. That's it. So our tea trolley volunteers cover our day units, which are on level 1 and level 4. And what that is just offering a cup of tea and a biscuit. Lunchtime you get a sandwich, and that's just. And
I've never had a sandwich.
Have you been in the day unit, or is it the outpatients?
No, it's the outpatients. Yeah, I need to come in at lunchtime.
and that's just, and again, it's just that kind of positive, kind of chatting away and things like that. The outpatients is just tea and coffee and biscuits. From own experience, again, I remember going for an appointment and it was really busy on a Tuesday. Tuesday was my clinic day, and it was really, really busy. And you don't want to leave in case you miss your appointment. So having a volunteer coming around and just giving you a cup of tea is like liquid gold.
Oh, it's the best thing.
It is, absolutely. The Wellbeing Centre is up on the 4th floor, and that's for patients to come up and get away from the ward environment if they can. Beautiful views of Glasgow, and it's just a nice, relaxed space. We offer therapies up there, like Reiki, Thai head massage, reflexology. I've had all of them. But we also do wig consultation, wig fitting, and also the hairdressing as well. Yeah. And again, there's the staff and volunteers up there that you can chat about to.
Yeah, there are some amazing services, and as you say, the befriending as well. Have you had a standout moment in your time working for Beatson that I know you'll have had quite a few,
I know.
But is there a moment you can think of that really sticks in your mind?
I'd say my proudest moment personally was in 2023. My colleagues nominated me for the SCVO Employee of the Year, which I got shortlisted for. So I was at a night in Edinburgh up against 2 others, and I actually won it.
Wow.
Which I was flabbergasted by, and it was just absolutely amazing. I loved it. Absolutely loved it.
And it's so well deserved. What is your life like now, Paul? It's your cancer. I take it you're doing really well. You're still checked. So it's still in your life. Do you get I get the anxiety the night before I'm going for an appointment. Do you still get that?
I do, but it's very strange, Laura, because I work there, and I go up for my appointment. I'm sitting there with my lanyard on, and people, you can see people looking at you as if, why are you sitting there?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But it's amazing. I mean, the level of care, just to even like so many years past. I mean, that's me into 13 years now, and I'm still going yearly just for that checkup. How you doing? Everything okay there? They have stopped the chest X-rays now, which is fine. But it's just a check-in, just to make sure everything's okay.
Your diagnosis was obviously a completely horrendous time, but you are someone who's been able to take a terrible situation and it's literally changed your life, but in a positive, you've been able to take a positive out of it, haven't you?
Absolutely. Yep.
And your kids, what do they think of Dad and the Beatson?
Yeah, they're all really proud of, obviously, and they all get involved with my fundraising as well, which is great. They were all busy doing the raffle on Sunday there at the footgolf and things, so they like to get involved. And I always encourage my son, I'm always going to be encourage my sons to do a bit of volunteering as well, because I think it's a great thing to do, a bit of life skills. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Definitely. As you say, you were a young man and you had a lump, and I think probably, male and female were so guilty of going, life's so busy, aren't we? We're like, we'll go to the doctor the next day, or, you kind of put it off. But for anyone who is listening and who does have something, they think, that's not quite right. What would you say to them? Know
your body. Yep. No, if something's not right, get it checked. I'll be the first to admit it. I'm a stubborn man, and I was like, I'll be fine. And it was only because Louise had made me that appointment that I actually went to it, and I'm so grateful for that, because if I hadn't went to that appointment, who knows what could have happened.
Yeah, we're very grateful to have you. Looking ahead, what does the future look like? Because I feel like you're a man you've always got a goal or something on the go. What would you ultimately like to achieve?
I don't know. Honestly, I pinch myself every day that I go to the Beatson to work. And I know they say no job's forever, but I would gladly be there forever. It's a potential goal is just obviously to keep doing what I'm doing and supporting people that are in a very difficult position.
And more fundraising?
Yes, probably just footgolf. Probably just footgolf for now.
Please explain for our listeners and me what on earth footgolf is.
So footgolf is basically the rules of golf. You kick a football instead.
Okay.
So we had that on Sunday. There was the 9th year we've done it, and it's raised 77,000 in that time. And it's a great laugh. I mean, you think you can kick a football? You can't. You clearly can. Don't get me wrong. I mean, it's not 400 yards like a normal golf course. You're probably talking about 200 yards per hole, and it's a brilliant laugh. I mean, I get the guys spinning around before they kick the ball and they fall in the bush and everything else. It's brilliant. But we had 132 people there on Sunday, so It was a great event.
My goodness, that is amazing. And we've got one coming up soon off the Beatson track. Always one of my favourites that I get to host. For anyone who's listening, who's never been along to that, it's an incredible day, isn't it? Oh,
it's brilliant. Rain or shine, it's an absolutely amazing day. I'm lucky enough I walked the very first ever off the Beatson track, and it was amazing then, and it's even better now. The numbers have grown substantially, and it's a walk that most people can do. Yeah. It's a 6.5 mile walk round the west end of Glasgow, up by the hospital, and it's lovely. Mm-hmm. Just to see that sea of yellow is brilliant. I mean, when you see the walk going past the Clyde Expressway, you hear all the cars tooting and just showing encouragement.
And I think that's because most people in Glasgow and beyond, but certainly in Glasgow, know of the Beatson, don't they? Yeah. And the wonderful work that they've done, and somebody who's been treated there. You know, you've said that you love it. What does it mean to you to be a part of Team Beatson? Everything.
Honestly, Laura, I mean, if somebody had said to me, you'll work for the Beatson, I mean, this is nine years this year I've been working there. You'll work for the Beatson, you'll have raised over £160,000. I'd have been like, what are you talking about? But as I say, every day, I just pinch myself and think how lucky I am.
Well, listen, if you are going to the Beatson, look out for this man. His cheery face is down at the cafe downstairs. We can see you in your little room. Can you just go into that room? I always wanted that.
Yeah, so just a drop in. So basically, it's a volunteer hub. Mm-hmm. So people can come in. The volunteers come in at the start of the shift and at the end of the shift, just for that wee debrief. And also we kind of double up as a kind of information kind of centre as well. So if somebody's maybe been diagnosed for the first time, they don't know where things are, they want to know a wee bit more about the charity, then we can give them that information there as well.
Well, look out for them when you're in the queue to get your scone. We can always see you looking out there, and you're one of the best people, honestly. Like, I know the Beatson are so grateful. You treat everyone with a smile. You're so warm and generous, and thank you so much for all the amazing work you do. And I'll see you off the Beatson track.
Yep, you shall.
Thank you so much. If you've been affected by any of the stories you hear in this podcast, or would like to learn more about Beatson and Paul and his wonderful work, then just visit beatsoncancercharity.org. I'll see you next time.